Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. I'm going to do something a little different here, as many aspiring YouTubers usually do, is approach their personal vlogs here, and this will be my first personal vlog here that I'm going to discuss here and share with you guys. If you like this, or mostly my channel, I'm going to be covering Calgary sports and entertainment and many of my scenery videos where I go west of the Canadian Rockies or east of the prairies or anywhere else in the world. So yeah, if you're interested in that or want to know more, just make sure you subscribe to my channel and peruse through all my videos from there. Anyway, speaking of going west to the Canadian Rockies from Calgary, I mean, this might sound a little over dramatic here, but right now this is the August long weekend in 2018, but I just flashed back to 10 years ago where on that same August long weekend I made my first journey on my own in my back when I used to have a car. It was my old Ford Escort, and this t-shirt definitely is definitely purposely worn for this video, but you could say it was a life-changing experience, but I didn't realize it at the time, where I made many stops in the Canadian Rockies, including what has become my favorite site in the Canadian Rockies, Mount Robson. There's definitely a reason why you see that on my channel header, as it's become my favorite spot, and I saw that for the first time 10 years ago this weekend. But let's start off first where I learned this lesson the hard way, that west of Calgary here, you got Banff and Lake Louise, and they're definitely big attraction draws, but Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, as beautiful as they are and picturesque as they are, I learned my lesson the hard way on this particular long weekend, and especially I came, not knowing at the time, it was in the middle of the afternoon, but parking is definitely an issue at Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, especially on a long weekend in the summer where a lot of people love to go to Banff National Park. So lesson learned, don't go on a long weekend and don't go during the day unless you want to fight traffic and wait for a couple hours. Lesson learned here, Brett. But it was still worth capturing both of those sites, and if you look on my YouTube channel, my earlier material, I actually captured my first, brief video of Moraine Lake. But then after you get through Lake Louise, on the way to Mount Robson, you get to drive Highway 93, the north section that connects Lake Louise to Jasper, and in between you get to see the Columbia Icefields, which, a lot of people highlight that Icefields Parkway drive, especially from Lake Louise to Jasper, is one of the most beautiful and scenic drives in the world there. And for the first time I got to see, Bull Lake, Crowfoot Glacier, and then over the years I gone up and stopped at Peyto Lake, and definitely done the Columbia Icefields. And actually a couple of years ago the new Glacier Skywalk was also installed. It opened in 2014 at Summit to Pass. It's very similar to like the Grand Canyon, glass floor. I can only walk on it once, as yours truly is afraid of heights, but other people can walk it out like just walking on the floor. But it's definitely a lot of beautiful scenery there, and it turns out I find the summer is definitely the best time, because I drive that stretch during my annual spring vacation fairly regularly, which point of this vlog is that a lot of sites is still a lot of snow and ice, and it can look the same in May as it is in January, but all the sites on Highway 93, if the sun's out right, you get the beautiful turquoise blue lake in the Canadian Rockies. And actually, while I was making my stops, there was this bus tour that kept stopping behind me as I was stopping to take pictures, and then I asked the driver and the guide and said, what's your favorite month to check out all the sites on the Icefields Parkway? And she said at the time, actually September. So, late summer. Anyway, once you go all the way up to Jasper, and actually at the time, before I discovered Mount Robson and the village of Valemount, as I was looking for a place to stay in Jasper, and it was a long weekend, and once again, lots of places get booked up, especially in the Canadian Rockies. But another thing I also found in Jasper over the years, and still is the case today, that you pretty much need to rob a bank to be able to stay in a hotel in Jasper. And then I looked east, and Hinton is a community. If you go east on Highway 16, that's just outside of Jasper National Park. I guess you can kind of say it's like Canmore North. You got Calgary, and you got Canmore before you get into Banff. Hinton, I guess you can say, is sort of that, but not quite into the mountains. But lodging was expensive there too. So then I looked west, and the next communities there were Valemount, and then actually McBride, which I know people that's from McBride, and I asked about those two communities with them, and they said there's not much there, but I wound up going there anyway, just to, because I was just there overnight, and I wasn't willing to break the bank to go somewhere to rest my head for the night. So I stayed in Valemount overnight, and the next morning the clouds cleared out, and I was driving. It was just actually an overnight stay. It was quite a long drive, but I was younger then, when you could spend 7.5, 8 hour driving to get to a destination, and do the same on the reverse to go home. It was just a little cheap getaway at the time. But as I was leaving Valemount, it was a clear, beautiful morning, and I was going east on Highway 16 after where Valemount's in the north end of Highway 5 in BC. There it was, Mount Robson, clear, perfect blue sky. Get to see the top, and all the locals say that that's a rare sight to get to see Mount Robson. So that was the first time that I got to see Mount Robson, because you don't really see it going if you're going west from Jasper to go either to Prince George, or take Highway 5 and go south, where that stretch takes you down the Valemount, and eventually all the way down the Kamloops and the Coquihalla, all the way down to Hope, because I know Valemount's also kind of an unofficial halfway point if you're driving from Edmonton to Vancouver. But anyway, getting back to my vlog here, the other thing I also fell in love, which is all part of the Mount Robson Provincial Park, was Moose Lake, and I got videos of that, capturing Moose Lake for the first time. And also, when I went to Jasper, I drove down the Moline Lake Road to see the canyons, and eventually saw the lake. And then I realized that, which I did the next year when I went to the Canadian Rockies, that you need to do a boat tour to go see the famous Spirit Island, which I got a video of that if you dig through my my channel. And then eventually I was going back to Calgary, driving down I-93 and connect west to go back to Calgary. But at that time, I didn't realize it back in 2008, but it's been a life-changing experience, because every year since then, I've made sure I spend part of my vacation time in the Canadian Rockies, checking out, Jasper, Valemount, McBride, Mount Robson, and I find different, different activities to do all the year, or, stop and see all the sites over the years. The other thing that's going to be intriguing, especially with climate change and taking pictures of glaciers, is I'm going to be intrigued as time goes on. I'm going to have 10 years of photos, seeing how the sites change over the years, and assuming that I still keep going for another 10, 20 years, or, I still, hopefully, if I ever get to retire, I want to move to Jasper and live in Jasper and call that home. So I'll be close to all those sites. It'd just be intriguing to see how, over the years, how the sites change over the years, where you got your pictures, and with the advent of technology and more video media software, maybe I'll do my time-lapse videos over the years. But like I said, I made dozens of trips, on the Icefields Parkway, and love the Mount Robson, and as this shirt always says, it's calling, and I must go. I went to, after I went to Kamloops, I went up to Valemount and Mount Robson, and in a couple weeks, I'm going to be going back there, because it's calling, and I must go. and actually also have the shirt in black. But anyway, this is just my first blog, sharing my brief experience and everything about the Canadian Rockies, the Icefields Parkway, and how Mount Robson has become my favorite site in the Canadian Rockies. I mean, it's the tallest peak in the Canadian Rockies. I gotta specify it's the Canadian Rockies range that's the highest peak in, but it definitely stands out of the rest. If you look at all the mountain ranges within the area, the Caribou, the Monashee, and it stands out. And especially if you're driving east on Highway 16, after you pass the junction of number 5, you see it turn around the corner. You see this, it stands out of the rest on the highway, although there's definitely taller mountains out there. Anyway, if you like what I do, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, the next vlog, or wherever you see me again on YouTube.